Hello friends, today I'm going to solve LeetCode problem number 983, minimum cost for tickets. In this problem we are given two arrays, days and costs. In the days array, those are the days in a year when we will be traveling. So the value would be ranging from 1 to 365 and the cost um, is of length 3, which has the cost of passes. So we have 1 day pass, 7 day pass and 30-day pass, and those passes are represented by index 0, index 1 and index 2 respectively. So what we need to do here is, while we are traveling, we can use these passes to make our expenditure. And basically what we want is, in real life we want to minimize our travel expenses, right? So using these passes, we want to get the minimum number of dollars that we need to travel every day in our list of days. So what would be the minimum cost of travel? That is what we need to identify. So now, given the days that we will be traveling and the cost of each passes, let's try to identify the minimum value of cost. So we have number of days starting from 1. So we could choose to take a pass of 1 day, of 7 day, or of 30 days. So this is for 1 day, this is for 7 days, and this pass is for 30 days, right? So if we choose to take a pass for 1 day, the cost would be 2, right? And then we need to find out the cost of these days. So basically the cost of traveling would be 2 plus the like dollars that we need to travel these days, right? Day 4, the next day, and so on. So here, if we take a 2-day pass, then 2 plus now day 4. For day 4, let's suppose we choose a 7-day pass here. So if you're choosing a 7-day pass, then from day 4, starting from day 4, how many days can we use this pass for? So from 4 we can use it for 4 plus 7, that would be equals to 11. So till day 11, right? So we can actually use it until day 8. So until day 8 we can use the pass for day 7, and then now we need to identify the cost of traveling at day 20. So at day 20, so what would be the cost? We could either use 1 day pass, 7-day pass, or 15-day pass, but the best choice is to use the 1 day pass, right? Because we are just staying there 1 day, we are just traveling 1 day. So 2 plus 7 plus our 1 day pass cost, and the total would be equals to 11. So this is the sum of the cost of traveling, that is the dollars that we need to travel, right? Minimum. So basically now the question comes, how are we actually solving this problem? So to solve this problem, we need the cost of traveling on this day, and the cost should be the minimum, right? Cost on traveling this day should be minimum. So shall we use a 1-day pass, or a 7-day pass, or a 30-day pass? That is what we need to identify. Let's look at another example, that the way it will be much more clear. So let's suppose the days, this is the days array. I have taken 1, 5, 6, 7, 9 and 11. All right, so let's suppose these are the days that we are traveling, and the cost is the same as above. So it's 2, 7 and 15 for 1-day pass, 7-day pass and 30-day pass. Now starting from day 1, if we choose a 2-day pass, then what would be the cost? So we choose a 2-day pass, then the cost for that day would be 2, and then now we need to find the cost of the remaining days, right? So starting from 5 again, if we choose a 2-day pass, then we now need the cost of these many days. So we could basically choose any days pass, 2 days, I mean 1-day pass, 1-day pass, or a 7-day pass. So what would be the better choice? So that would basically depend on the number of days, right? So let's suppose we are traveling at day 6. Now what would be the best option to pick between 2-day pass, 7-day pass, or 15 days pass? So what we do is from 6, we are traveling on day 6. Now we also have, if we choose 1-day pass, we will only be able to travel on day 6. Now for day 7 we need to make a new pass, right? So that would have a cost. So let's suppose we know the cost of traveling from day 7 to all the remaining days. So if we know the cost of traveling from day 7, then the minimum cost, then we have the cost of traveling on day 6, okay, on day 6 plus the cost of traveling these days. Again, we are just using 1-day pass. If we use a 7-day pass, then we have the cost of traveling on day 6, that is just the cost of a 7-day pass, right? This is cost of 7-day pass. Okay, let me just rewrite. So this value here is a 1-day pass, so that would be equals to 2. And if we are using a 7-day pass from 6, so that would be the cost of 7-day pass plus the cost of which day. From 6 we can, if we choose 7-day pass, then we could use that pass till day 13, right? So we need the cost of day 14, because we can use the same pass until day 13, so we don't need to pay anything until day 13. From day 14 now we need to make our payment. But since there is no day 14, so the cost would actually be equals to 0 for day 14, because there is no day 14, right? So now now we need to make a choice which would be cheaper between 1-day pass, 7-day pass, or 30 days pass. So for every day we are choosing, we make a minimum choice between these passes, value of passes, and then we identify those values, and based on those values we make the choice of our other passes. So that's how we are actually solving this problem. So let me just explain you once again. All right. So let me explain you in brief once again. So the costs are 2, 7, and let's say 15. All right. So now for day 1, if I'm taking a pass of 7 days, then what would happen is I can stay until I can use until day 7 to the 7-day pass. So my cost is now 7 plus. Now for day 9 and day 11, if I choose again 7-day pass, then I can start from day 9 and use the same pass for day 11, right? So that would be a cost of 14. So is this the minimum cost? No, right? So what I do is, for day 9, instead of choosing a 7-day pass, I will choose a 1-day pass. So that would be 7 plus for day 9 1 day pass, so that would be cost of 2, plus day 11 1 day pass, cost of 2. So the total cost is now equals to 7 plus 2 plus 2, which is equals to 11. So now the cost reduced, right? So cost reduced because for day 9 I am choosing the pass which is the least costly between 7 and between these two values. We are making choice between these two values because this value is like same, right? Once we have made these choices, we are not considering this value. For this day, I am just choosing between these two passes. Should I use day 1 pass or should I use day 7 pass, right? Now let's look at it in another way. Now, what if in case I choose a day 1 pass at day 1? So if I choose day 1 pass, the cost would be $2. Now for day 5, if I choose 7-day pass, then what would be the number of days I can stay? From 5 plus 7 is equals to 13, right? So I can actually use this pass from day 5 to day 13. So since the day 11, I can actually use the 7-day pass until day 11. So the cost is now 2 plus 7 only, which is equals to 9, which is the minimum right here. So what is happening is for day 5, I need to make a choice. I could have chosen day 1 pass that would have cost me some other values, greater values. I could have chosen day 30 pass that would have cost me 2 plus 15, which would be equals to 17, right? So actually the number of passes, the pass that I use is dependent on these values, right? For this day, what's the cost for day 7, day 1, day 7 and day 15? So based on these values, I am making my choices so that I get the minimum dollars that I need. So let's now dive into our code and solve this. Now let's see one more thing here. Since I'm making a choice at each day, I need to save, like for day 5 I am making a choice between 1 day pass. For day 6 again I can make a choice between 1 day pass or 7 days pass, right? So basically there might be a point where I am reusing, I need the value of this pass, right? The value, the cost of traveling on this day until the last day. So for that we are using a dp. So let us define our dp equals to an array of length 366 starting from 0 to 365. Since there is no zero day, but our array is indexed from days from 0, right? So that's why I'm just now we don't need to fill in anything. So now that I have created our our memory, okay, memory, now we'll create our function, dynamic programming function, where we are going to pass our day. So now if day is greater than 365, then we just return 0. Else what if we check if our memory already has that day, then the value for that day, then we are going to return the value without having to compute it again, else we have to compute. So we are only what we do is now to find the cost of a given day, we are choosing between 3 passes, right? Day 0, day 1, 1 day pass, 7 day pass and 30 day pass. So if we choose 1 day pass, then we need the cost of day plus 1, right? That is the next day. From next day, what's the cost? right? And then we are choosing, if we choose, okay, if we choose a 7-day pass, then we can use that first day starting from that to 7, right? So that will be how we are going to solve these. And if we choose a 30-day pass, that is as index 2, okay, then we can use that pass starting from our day until day 30, right? So we need now the minimum of these passes. So math that minimum cost. So what would be the minimum cost for all of these passes? So that would be the cost of traveling from these days to the last day of our travel. Now one thing comes here, if we are not traveling, suppose we are traveling on day 2 but we are not traveling on day 3, so we will not be spending any money on day 3 since we are not traveling. So what we need is also need the days that we are traveling, right? So days set equals to new set of days. So if we are only traveling on that days, that is if days set has that day, that is only when we are making our expenses, right? So this would be how it is, else we are just the expenses will remain the same, so we are just transferring, that is we are just continuing to have okay, dp of day plus 1. So we are just transferring it, we are not adding anything, not making any concept like expenses. Now finally we return our expense for that day. Now let's make a call to our dp function starting from day 1. Okay, so we get some error. Okay, let's try to fill this with value -1, and if it's not equals to -1, then return the value, else we compute the value for those days. Now let's try to run this. Okay, I'm still getting an error. All right, so the problem here is now memo day, we need the cost at day plus 1, right? But have we already computed it? We might not have, right? So we need to actually compute it here. Okay, now this will work. Now we don't actually need this thing here. All right, and we also don't need this. Now let's try to run. Awesome, let's try to submit our code. Great. So talking about the time complexity, since we are creating an array, and then for each of the days, we are actually each of the days starting from 1 to 365. We are performing our DP operation, so that is why it would be O of 365. Since 365 is a constant, so that will be constant. But let's suppose it is some variable value, then that would be O of W, where W is equals to 365, and the size of the array would also be equals to O of W, I mean the space complexity.